right, we're live. We're starting to get some attendees in here, and we'll get started. Hello, everyone that's joining. Very excited to have you here, and we'll be just taking a few minutes here to let people get settled in and get into the webinar here, and then we will get started. Okay. Hey everyone, thank you so much for being here. I know we still have some people that are joining, so we're going to just give it a few more minutes, probably till 1:03 here or so, and we'll get started. We're really excited to have you. We're going to be talking today about DREs, having some DREs, some of our great DREs that use the platform, sharing about some of the success they've had using the platform online, giving some examples of the stuff that they're doing. And so we're really, really excited to have them here today to join us. So we're going to be getting started in just a minute. So hang tight, and thank you so much for being here. All right, perfect. Give it another minute here. While we're getting started, though, let's maybe just do some introductions. I think that'd be good, just to kind of introduce ourselves to everyone. So I'll go ahead and start off, and then we can just, all of us panelists here can introduce ourselves. But my name is Ryan Johnson, and I am the Client Solutions Manager for Catholic Faith Technologies, and very excited to be here to share some of the exciting stuff that we're doing. And also to have these great DREs here with us as well. So I'll go ahead, Bernadette, I don't know if you want to start. We'll have you just go ahead and introduce yourself, what parish you're from, and kind of give some information. And then we'll go to Joanne after that.
Hi, everyone. I'm Bernadette Myers. I'm the DRE at Curie of Ours in Leawood, Kansas. And if anyone's familiar with Kansas, it's in the Johnson County area. And our parish is a tithing parish, so anyone can go to the school for basically, as long as they sign up to tithe. So we have, it's rather large, have about 2,500 families, about 7,700 individuals that are actually registered here. And I have been with My Catholic Faith Delivered since September 2016.
Awesome. Joanne, do you want to introduce yourself
Sure.
as well?
So my name's Joanne Penson-Stadler, long last name, and I am the DRE Youth Minister at Our Lady Star of the Sea in Solomons. And like Bernadette, I've been using My Catholic Faith Delivered since 2016. And it's made life a lot easier as a DRE, I can say that. So, and our parish is pretty large, not as big as yours, Bernadette, but it's a good size. So, I'm just happy to be here.
Well, we're happy you're here, and I want to just say thank you to you both for being here and for being willing to share, your story, what you're doing, the work that's being done at your parish. And we're so excited for you to be able to share that with the DREs here. We also do have one more person that I don't want to forget. My boss, Jay Breeden, who is the president of CFT. He's here, and Jay, I don't know if you want to just introduce yourself to everyone and say hello, and we're thankful you're here as well.
Sure, yeah, absolutely. My name is Jay Braden. As Ryan said, I'm the president here at Catholic Faith Technologies and My Catholic Faith Delivered. I work with our team to make sure that all of our dioceses, parishes, and schools are able to roll out their programs smoothly and grow their religious education and online. So I will be keeping tabs on questions in the Q&A and chat box here. So don't forget to submit those as they come along, and we will try to intersperse a few of those to Joanne and Bernadette throughout the conversation here, and we'll certainly save some time for those at the end as well.
Yeah, no, that's a great point, Jay. Just if you do have questions, like Jay said, there is that Q&A box, so we'll work on getting to those questions as we go today. And if there are questions that we don't answer today, we will certainly make sure that we follow up with you. So if you have a question, don't be afraid to put it in there, and we'll certainly get to as many as we can today. So today we're like we had said, we're going to be talking with these great DREs, with Joanne and Bernadette, who are here, and having them share some of their story and the successes that they've had flipping the classroom. So Joanne, I'm going to start with you on this one, but I had a question. You both, Bernadette and Joanne, you both have been using My Catholic Faith Delivered since 2016. So in a lot of ways, you've been kind of early adopters to that flipped classroom model. Can you talk about maybe why you were early adopters, or what sort of drove you to implement My Catholic Faith Delivered and utilize it to flip the classroom? And Joanne, we'll start with you, and then Bernadette, you can chime in as well.
Awesome. When I inherited the program, just trying to find a way to give the catechist more time, and at the same time allowing the parents to engage themselves with something that's already facilitated for them. And and I am trying to remember how I found out about My Catholic Faith Delivered. I believe it was through Ignatius Press mentioned it. And I went online and looked. I started with my second grade class and a middle school class. Mm-hmm. And I wanted to see how it was going to affect our faith knowledge assessment. Our scores went up. So then I've moved everybody over the following year. But it was, I think for me, it was giving that catechist more time to apply the lesson in an interactive way with the children, instead of just sitting there reading for an hour. And with the parents, hoping it would plant seeds. So that was my push for it.
Awesome. And Bernadette, what about you? I know you started in 2016 using the program. Kind of talk a little bit about how you got started and why you were kind of an early adopter to flipping the classroom.
Well, first of all, I want to give credit to my pastor, because I was a new DRE at this time. But he was basically looking for something different than what we had been doing. He felt like parents were not being engaged. They were dropping the kids off, and we weren't really involving them in their spiritual education. We'd say that parents are the first teachers, but we weren't really giving them the tools to do that. So My Catholic Faith Delivered, that with Ignatius Press, that fit the bill there. The numbers have been dwindling in our parish school of religion. Mm-hmm. And he was wanted something different that maybe we could help engage the kids a little bit better, especially in the classroom. Like Joanne was saying, now the catechists had more time for evangelization, for the liturgical year, the rosary, adoration. So much more could be incorporated into the classroom if the children did their lesson in a flipped classroom approach before they even came.
Sure. Sure.
The other thing was we had more, we reached the public school kids, and even though Catholic schools are having more success with offering things for kids with special needs. There still is a great majority of those kids that are going to public schools. So
Sure.
This also fit the bill for that, especially with sight impaired, mentally challenged, dyslexia, because the voiceover text really helped with that. And then we were getting a few that had parents who still spoke Spanish, even though the majority don't. This gave them an option to change the voiceover text to Spanish. So it kind of fit the bill for all of those things that he was looking for. And anyways, and My Catholic Faith Delivered also has just an amazing staff, really great customer service. And for me, because I came from sales, that was really important. They got back with me. They were willing to really listen to suggestions and any difficulties we were having, and were quick to work on those.
That's great to hear. And I know you both had mentioned it, but and we had a question about it. So I think this kind of is a good segue. So in this flipped classroom model, and giving the catechist more time, what is the role of your catechist, or what, can you kind of talk about how your catechists interact with the platform, not only from maybe an administrative level, but how it gives them some of that time back to do things in the classroom when you do meet, to be able to engage the students, and maybe talk a little bit. I think you both have some differences in how you go about implementing it. I think you meet kind of in different intervals, but talk a little bit about that. I don't know, Joanne, maybe if you want to start, and then Bernadette, you can chime in as well.
Okay, so we meet on a weekly basis. We do try to incorporate more from our older grades, family catechesis days, we call them. So I allow the catechists, as long as they're staying within the liturgical year, plan out their calendar. And then I call them 5 pillars. I try to incorporate things I see on My Catholic Faith Delivered. So I do my homework, the catechist does their homework, and the students do their homework. And that definitely allows them to utilize the teacher's manual. That Sunday when the kids come in, they should have read and completed their work, to discuss the chapter and apply additional material in the teacher's manual to the kids. So that's how I run it. It's just on a weekly basis.
Cool. That's great.
Yeah.
And with that, I mean, have your catechists found that to be helpful and useful? I mean, do they feel like they're able to give better instruction doing that?
For the most part, yes. The older catechists, it's a little harder to convince them.
Sure.
I think they're a little shocked the kids are on the computer working as young as they are. And I'm like, they do it at school. So that still takes some, working with them. But for the most part, the catechists love it, because they can show other videos, and they can small group if they want. So it really allows them to go beyond.
Sure.
And again, and it's like any other program, you could have the best material there. What I like about My Catholic Faith Delivered, if my catechist isn't very strong, if they're a new catechist, this helps them. I mean, it's just all right there.
Sure.
And then they have the manual just to kind of go over questions if they're a little nervous to go outside of the box or something. But
Yeah.
Generally, for the most part, the catechists really like it, and the students like it.
Yeah. And Bernadette, I know you do things a little bit differently, which is great. I mean, that's kind of the beauty of this, right? Is that there's no one approach that you have to take. So maybe if you want to speak a little bit about the approach you take, just to kind of share what you're doing at Cure.
Well, we've actually kind of modified our approach since our first year. We sent out surveys in the first 2 years, asking a lot of questions and getting a lot of good feedback, so we would know basically for our own parish, what would work. And what the, you know, if it doesn't work for the parents, they're not going to come. So what we do now is we meet twice a month, and we expect the kids to do 2 chapters. And so when they come, they're actually kind of focusing on just those 2 chapters. And we work on the lesson plans, the in-class lesson plans during the summertime with the catechists. So we really want to incorporate evangelization, hands-on application, but we don't try to go through every single detail in their lesson plans. We try to focus on the big pictures,
Sure.
like 1 or 2 focuses.
Okay.
And then that also allows us to incorporate whatever liturgical or feast days going on. Like Joanne was saying, put them in small groups, let them wrestle with a question, help them to get to know each other. Because what I found out from my surveys was they didn't really know each other. So it was important for them to build community too, and for them to get to know each other. And
Sure.
the kids wanted a community, our parents wanted a community, and they also wanted family events. So we do it in kind of a 3 different approach where they have class instruction. We have additional nights for those that are in sacraments, though, like 2nd and 8th grade. And if anybody's interested, they can jump over to our webpage on the Curé of Ars website later. So I won't go into it too much. But then I also do a Bible study with the parents. That's been amazing. I've been able to really show hospitality and welcome them. And by doing that, then we also try to do that in the classroom. And then we do a few family nights with Mass. And like our first one is with the backpack blessing. And then we do a nativity play. And then at the end, we do a May crowning and involve especially the 2nd graders and the 8th graders. So we're just able to do a lot. If I can answer this question, I do something different every year. So my first year, I used focus and I really wanted to focus on the charisma. And that was free because I didn't have a budget my first year. So I did that. You can Google that and download all of those materials. And then we just gave everybody a Bible each session. So while the kids are in class, I'm leading the Bible study, and I have like a floor manager. So I'm lucky in that regard. She takes care of that for me. But each year, so the last 2 years, we've done a different gospel. 2 years ago, we did it on John, the Gospel of John, and the encounters in the Gospel of John. And this year, we did it on Matthew. So
cool. Yeah, and I was going to ask you, but you
really great to be able to engage the parents as well as part of this program. So I know, Bernadette, you've got some things you're doing with Bible studies and the family night, which is great. Joanne, have you seen increased engagement from the parents as well in your parish from implementing this program?
It fluctuates. The certain classes, you guys can relate to that. We have certain classes along the way that parents have been engaged. The younger students, the parents seem to be a little bit more engaged. So the older parents with the older students, it's harder to get them back in because with the kids' schedule, hopefully everything's slowed down. Sure. So we did a dot-to-dot game, and it was just you could just see the parents checking out. They didn't know the faith, and they would walk out saying, "My kids know more than me." So we just kind of came in. I did like magisterium and everything attached to the magisterium, like a dot-to-dot. So that, but it was easy for me to go online and look at My Catholic Faith Delivered as an admin, try to pull something together with all the material right there. So it's, depending on the year, I'd go half and half, but definitely the younger kids, the parents love it. And the parents, we have a few children with Down syndrome, and the parents absolutely love it.
Mhm.
They said it was just a lifesaver for them. So it's all in all, it's good. Because I can see when they're doing their homework rather than the books going home and just sitting there. And they
Sure.
love the games, even the older kids like the
Yeah.
games.
And to be honest with you, like what Joanne was saying, if I look back at all the grades, who's really more of the kids, who's more engaged, it's the ones that started with My Catholic Faith Delivered as they've moved along. So the ones that were older, so like obviously the first graders who are now fourth graders, they continue, but it's the older kids, the fifth, sixth grade didn't start. I mean, this, kids are kind of, they like structure.
Yep.
And this is what they're used to. So I really feel like each year this is going to continue to grow for the older kids.
Great. We love to hear that.
Great. And I think that segues nicely kind of into the next thing that we wanted to talk about. And we talked about some of the impacts already, but, really looking at how this program has impacted your parish, impacted your religious education programs. I don't know if either of you want to speak to some of the impact that you've seen, being able to flip the classroom, being able to engage families, engage catechists in a different way than just the standard sort of textbook teacher classroom sort of way. So I don't know who wants to start on that one, but I think we'd love to hear the impact you've been able to have.
I don't know, Bernadette, I don't know about you. I love the music, the opening prayer. I mean, I'd hate to say it, but it's the truth. A lot of the times the kids are only going to see Christ is when they're doing My Catholic Faith Delivered and coming in on Sundays. It doesn't mean the parents are still taking them to Mass. So for them to hear the prayers and the music, again, my little ones are the ones to come up and say something. My goal too, and I didn't bring this up the first time, was to catechize my catechist. And that was the biggest impact, I think, out of all, is the catechist not being intimidated by a teacher's manual, but reading along with the kids and giving them a little bit more freedom and not so fearful of what they can go out and teach. So I think it was catechizing the catechist. The ones who needed it, the ones who did not need it, just went all over. And it trickles down. I mean, the word of mouth, we were talking about that the other day. What the time it allows my catechist to be with the students and do different applications that are related to the lesson plan, if that makes sense. So that was the biggest thing. I want to say the biggest impact.
Do you want me to answer this question?
Sure. If you
Okay.
want to, you're welcome to.
Okay.
Yeah, no, it'd be great.
So we actually give the option, and because it's expensive to give them a textbook and the online subscription. So we give them the option, but to be quite honest, we only have a handful of kids who do the hard copies. But we want them to learn, however that is. And we're able to download the quiz packet, and we ask them still to turn that in when they come to class. And we actually have an incentive program for kids that come to class and for kids that are completing their homework. So they get credit when they do this. But, the biggest impact I think that we've had is that parents are saying that they're learning their faith all over again. And some parents are saying they're learning their faith for the first time by facilitating this with their kids. And the other thing is it just is giving the parents so much more confidence in teaching the faith. And like I said, and combined with, we do a lot of hospitality. and trying to make them feel welcome. And I think that has really contributed to, along with the online program. And so we've actually doubled our numbers since the year before I came.
Double the
But-
number of families participating in your religious
Uh-huh.
ed.
The number of kids, yes, that are registered and participating. And but I want to be quite honest with you. I never feel like I'm doing enough. I want to go out there and find the rest of them. So
Yeah, no, that, well, and I think Bernadette, you made the point earlier that, so often every parents, myself included, are, at baptism, hey, you're the teachers of the faith, right? And sometimes I think it's, that's one thing, but how, we don't know the formation of all the parents that are out there, what they feel comfortable with, what they don't feel comfortable with. So it sounds like this has been a real benefit in giving some of those parents that maybe don't have that comfort level in forming their kids, or maybe don't have the knowledge, to at least have some tools and resources that are available. Is that kind of what I'm hearing, or is that what's happening, or you're seeing from parents?
oh, I agree. We have so many parents who are divorced, who were grandmas bringing them in the beginning.
Sure.
But I find ways to involve the parents, both parents, and I just find if we just are willing to meet them where they're at, give them the tools, show them love, show them hospitality, that they will eventually come along. And of course, lots of prayer too. We actually have prayer partners as well in our program. And I think prayer is huge. So you want that foundation of prayer, and things just work a whole lot better when you're relying on God.
That's great. That's a great point. We did have a question that came in, and I think just to kind of make sure that everyone is understanding, the way that both of you do it, and the way a lot of people do it, is that the students will do the work that they're assigned, whether it's on a weekly or bi-weekly basis, and then they're coming to church or to your religious education program, and they're meeting with the catechist at that time, and the catechist is then doing additional activities with them. Is that correct? That's how you're handling that?
Correct.
Some of my catechists will bring up the My Catholic Faith Delivered on Sundays.
Cool.
And kind of go through the lesson with them, especially if they're new to the program.
No, that's great. That's great. And I think that's, that's the nice thing about this, is that there is that flexibility that, you don't have to implement this exactly the same. We have two great examples here of you all doing it a little bit differently, but still allowing for that in-person instruction with the catechist, and also allowing the students to do some work and formation at home in the domestic church, right? So there's a good balance there. Sorry, Bernadette, were you going to say something?
I was just going to say, we always begin the year with a tutorial for parents.
Okay.
And give them a packet from My Catholic Faith Delivered that helps explain it. And then we check in with them. We kind of watch. What's so great is you can tell who's doing the homework and who's not through the reports. And so we check in with them. If they haven't gotten on, we want to make sure that they understand how to do it. We don't want to just throw them in there. We want to offer them the tools. So once they understand exactly how to do it, the kids just take over. They know how to do it.
Sure. Sure. No, that's great. And yeah, and we have a lot of resources that are available. We have even like a rollout PowerPoint that you can use. We have some sample letters we can provide that you can send to families if you're implementing it. We have a parent guide. We have a catechist guide. We have an admin guide for you as the DRE. So we have a lot of resources available. So and we can, if there's a parish out there that is interested in utilizing this, we'll work with you to be able to do that. So, and we also can, connect you with some great people that are utilizing it that can also help and be a resource as well. So lastly, and we've covered some of this as well, and we're going to continue to take some questions from the group here as we move forward. But can you just talk a little bit, and you spoke to it earlier, both of you did, what's the feedback that you've received from parents and students? Are you, I know we talked a little bit about the students that might have special needs. students who, depending on reading level or things like that, may struggle. Can you just speak a little bit to some of that feedback that you're getting from people who are utilizing it?
For the parents with children with special needs, the voiceover is, I constantly hear that. Parents that are on top of their children will go in, and I didn't know they could do it. I guess I'll go in and look at the table of contents to see what they've completed. So they're holding their child accountable. Not all the parents, but I'm seeing more and more where the parents are saying, look, you're not doing this. Here's your assignment up on the website. You didn't complete it. So they like that. They like that there's something there to help keep them and their children accountable for what they need to do. The other thing I didn't mention, I don't know if this, I don't want to break off of it. We talked about this, Bernadette, that sometimes when you have children that just aren't participating, you can run these reports and bring it to your pastor. If it's First Holy Communion, if it's confirmation, just say, look, they're not given the time. And it's tangible evidence, if you will, that you could bring to your pastor. And then the catechist can bring to me. So that's been another benefit. But going back to the parents, the voiceover or turning the voice off and letting the children go at their own pace has been huge. And it's joyful to see the parents and the students come together. And you see, and you know the ones who are doing it together when they walk in. That's beautiful. So yeah, we did talk about it a little bit, but yeah, definitely the kids love the games and the music. The parents like the music. I don't know, Bernadette, what do you have?
Well, some of the feedback I've gotten is the parents are so excited that the kids are learning their faith. They didn't necessarily learn their faith, some of these parents, and so they're just excited that the kids want to get on. And because My Catholic Faith Delivered is very interactive with the kids, I think more so than some of those online programs, just my own personal opinion. And I have done research into catechetical materials for my master's. So, and I think Joanne and I have talked, my Ignatius Press is solid materials for the kids to learn their Catholic faith. And then I've had parents who are just in tears with their special needs kids, that they're finally learning just like all the other kids. And then my excitement has been, especially, when I have the group of them and I start asking them questions, maybe it's in First Communion, and they're giving me all the right answers. I mean, that's exciting. I'm like, okay, you can be the teacher now, because kids are like sponges and they memorize things so well. And that's exciting to me. So that's, that's the kind of, and because we are doing kind of this community aspect, both the parents, the kids, the families, and we're really stressing that this all relates back to Jesus. I get the comments that they finally don't feel like stepchildren, because sometimes School of Religion parents feel like a stepchild if there's a school connected to them. So they finally feel like they are part of the community by just that little extra effort.
Oh, that's a great point, and something that probably doesn't get talked about maybe enough is how do you make those those parents and kids that are in the School of Religion program feel like they're part of that larger community if they're not going to if they're not going to the Catholic school that might be connected. So it's a really good point, and something that I don't know always gets talked about or thought about as much.
And Brian, we've been talking about that a lot, and there's a couple of questions here alluding to this, just, not having been for the last couple of months, being able to gather everyone together after having the kids and parents going through the materials at home and we're working with Ignatius Press on some strategies for being able to support the virtual community of people at your parish, whether you're able to gather in person or not. So stay tuned for more on that from us, but we're working with them on different combinations of ways to provide books plus online materials, and so again, some strategies for being able to continue to bring that community of believers together, because that is and always will be, always has been, a very essential part of our belief in our faith.
Yeah.
Answer Barbara's question.
Yeah, please.
Yeah, absolutely.
Barbara, you said that you're using you are using Ignatius Press or Faith and Life right now. The using it for going on 5 years with the pandemic, that was my biggest fears. Even though they have the My Catholic Faith Delivered, thank God. What was I going to do about that catechist communication or the interaction? There's and we're thinking about it for next fall. How are we going to bring it? One of the things that My Catholic Faith Delivered has is a discussion board, and the catechist can get on there and propose more questions, or hey, let's talk about this activity. It's not a blog or a chat, but it's a discussion. That's one way you could bring your catechist to the students using that feature.
You would use something similar to an I told you we apply the lessons in person, so you can do that whether you decide to do that through Zoom, through the platform, or you can also send out, if you don't want to even use technology and you want to send something out, say in your constant contact or your email, give them an application to it, and ask, and then also send them attach a document for them to give a summary, or to send a picture of themselves doing something that you've asked them to do. So there's all kinds of ways to engage them, that where you're applying the lessons just like you would if you were in class. If it would be the case that we can't meet in person. Of course, we don't really know what's going to happen, but it wouldn't be much different. I mean, yeah, it's different because it's not in person and it's not quite as personal, but you want to make it as personal as you can. You can do like 3-minute videos, 4-minute videos where you can read to them, and make that more personal and send it to them for that lesson if they're not meeting in person. But we can maybe do another time where we talk about ideas. I think
we're gonna need to, especially as everything starts to unfold a little bit more, and we have some more information and a better idea. I think, as you said, Bernadette, right now, I don't think any of us really knows what's going to happen.
Yeah.
No. We had a couple of questions, one in the chat and one in the Q&A here, about the prayer partner concept that you mentioned previously, Bernadette. Would you be able to expand on that just a little bit?
It might be easier if I gave my email and I could send them my actual document, but basically it's real easy. We ask each family to go out and get at least 2 prayer partners, like a grandma who's at home, and for them to pray while they're for that class. And then they have a card with those names on them, and they pray for them, for their prayer partners in class. So they have partners, grandmas, aunts, that are praying for those students, and the students are praying for them. So it's kind of like a prayer exchange. And it was actually my brother, who is a priest, who suggested that. And I thought it was a brilliant idea, and prayer definitely helps. But my email is Bernadette, BERNADETTE, M as in Mary, MYERS at CUREOFARS.com. So Bernadette M, I'm sorry, it's Bernadette Myers, no M dot. Sorry, I was starting with my home email. So Bernadette Myers, just like you see on the screen, at Cure, C-U-R-E of ours.com.
And if
Apologize
you're
for that.
okay with it, I'll go ahead and post that in the chat here as well.
Okay.
Yeah, and we also, Bernadette, we can put. I know you had mentioned your website with some additional information that that we have. We'll make sure that we can get that out so people have access to that, and certainly can look at some of the stuff you're doing there as well.
I know they're looking at some of them. They were concerned about the switch over. It is not. I think it's more nerve-wracking for the DRE and the catechists a little bit, but for the kids, are there glitches? Yeah, especially if you have fingers like me and don't type the name right or something. But it was a rather easy rollout when we moved all the classes over. And I come from a parish that doesn't necessarily like change, and they were fine with it.
No, that's a great point. And one thing that that is important, we had a question that came up related to it, but all of the material that you would find online is in the textbook, the physical textbook. So we have all the text and that you would find in the book itself. There are some additional pieces like the games, and there's some videos and some other things that exist, music that the catechist might play in the classroom if they use just the textbook version, but all the text is there. So it is, if you're using the Faith and Life series already, the material doesn't change. So
Bernadette, I don't know how you do it for your families, but so I have my own website for the religious ed, and all the classrooms have a link directly to My Catholic Faith Delivered. So all the parents have to remember is their child's user ID, but all their assignments and a link right directly to My Catholic Faith Delivered's there. And that was a big help too, keeping parents on the right track. Like, where do I go? Right there.
Well, and once they click on, it's saved. They can save so they never have to remember their user password, again.
That's great. That's great. Great advice. And I think this will hopefully be a conversation that we can continue, as we get more clarity around the fall, and maybe we can start talking, have another opportunity to talk about strategies or things of that nature as well. Jay, do we have any other questions that have come in from the Q&A so far, or?
Yeah, we do have quite a few. Some of them are asking about specific parishes that are using the program in their diocese. So I think we can answer those offline and provide direct answers to those folks. And then I think we've had a number of questions here kind of around as a catechist or a DRE, some of the more tactical things around reporting and email communications. Joanne, you mentioned the collaboration tools, the forum conversations that are available as part of the platform. So I think these are all excellent things to roll into our next webinar that we can cover and show a little bit more of how you would actually use some of these tools, and as well as a short demo of what one of the lessons looks like. You can also find the demo videos on our website, and we have a kind of a landing page that has some additional information that I will post into the chat here as well.
No, that's great. And if there are additional questions, or if you're out there and you're interested in trying the program out, we can set you up with the demo login. So please don't hesitate to either fill out the form that Jay's going to put in the chat, and you're welcome to do that, or give us a call or shoot us an email at our support desk, and we'd be happy to help get you set up and get you answer any specific questions that you do have. So I just want to say again to Joanne and Bernadette, thank you so much for being here, of course, for allowing us to serve you. We will continue to pray for the wonderful work that you're doing. And I want to thank everyone that attended for taking the time out of their day to come and hear more about how the work, what we're doing and how this program might benefit them. So we'll be looking for some additional information on our next webinar, which, as Jay said, is going to cover really be a demo and kind of cover some of the more tactical pieces that we talked about today. And we hope that you all continue to stay safe and well during this time. So thank you to everyone, and we'll look forward to continue to serve you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
I did post real quick the support email into the chat there as well. So feel free to send us any and all questions. It doesn't just have to be tech support questions. Ryan and I and other members of our team are happy to answer whatever questions you can throw at us. We'll turn those around as quickly as we can. And if you registered for the webinar, you should receive a link sometime towards the end of the day today with the recording of today's session.
Now, Jay, is that something you could put on your website as well for people that are browsing?
Yep, absolutely. It is down there in the footer. There's a phone number and an email to reach us pretty much anytime.
I meant this webinar.
The webinar. Yes, we will do that as well.
You got it. Thanks again, everyone, and have a wonderful rest of the day and a wonderful close to the week.
Thank you.
See you guys.
Bye-bye.
God bless everyone.
Do.